Let's get on to another issue where Adelaide is really centre stage, and it's big in the news today, and that is the AUKUS alliance between the US, Australia and the UK, and especially the nuclear submarines. You're looking at building them, nuclear submarines in Adelaide. This is a massive, massive deal. Do you, given your attitude to nuclear energy and the potential for that, notwithstanding economics, we'll put that argument to a side, but if there's the potential for Adelaide then to become the centre for a nuclear industry in Australia, using those tools and expertise you're going to get through the submarine project, would you be open to do that in the medium to long term?
Well, it is going to happen, Chris. I mean, South Australia, and more specifically Osborne down at Port Adelaide, that will be home to the most advanced nuclear technology that exists on the planet. It's done safely. It's done in a way that is cutting edge. It represents probably the single biggest step change to improve our state and even our nation's economic complexity in our history. And that presents massive opportunity. And I'm keen to grasp it. There are kids who have not been born today who will have the opportunity to participate in the most sophisticated areas of industry that exist globally. And that's something to celebrate, but we've got to make sure we've got the investments happening early to ensure that we have the skills and the workforce to be able to actually do the work in the first instance. And that's what my government is actively turning its mind to.
Now, you're going to have energy.
Come back to the nuclear question.
To do all that, though, you need reliable energy. And we've had the AEMO report out this week saying all states, including South Australia, facing a lack of reliable supplies in the future. You've gone ahead of the other states on renewables. You're now paying gas generators to try and stay online a little longer. Surely we've got to do something about dispatchable power in this country. We've gone too quickly down the renewables path.
Well, I think gas has got a role to play, Chris, and I'm on the public record as that. I believe gas is an important transition fuel. The simple fact is this, and we've seen this globally, and I'd invite even the most ardent advocates of decarbonisation to look at what has happened in the last 12 months. Once Russian gas came out of the global gas markets and prices has skyrocketed, all we have seen is more consumption of coal, which is a very real demonstration that if you care about carbon and carbon alone, then you have to acknowledge gas has an important role to play in the transition. Now, in South Australia, we're willing to actively facilitate that, but we make no apologies about the fact that we are far further ahead of the game than most other jurisdictions around the world, let alone in Australia, about pursuing renewable energy. That is the future. Whether people like it or not, we are on a one-way course to having to consume and produce a lot more renewable energy. And I think that's a good thing, both in respect to price, but also into decarbonisation. But gas is part of the transition. Now, nuclear, I just don't think should be ruled out on an ideological basis. I think it rules itself out on an economic basis. But I just think what I want to see in energy policy is a dispensation of people rushing towards polarising rhetoric and look at the analysis about what needs to occur for stable electricity supply in our country in a way that is affordable for industry, but also achieves our obligations in respect to decarbonisation.
Premier, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Chris. Cheers.